Harsh, not at all. So IT is on a downfall right now, and Sajeet is here to explain why he was right a couple of sessions back, right?
A couple of months back.
Couple of months back.
It's not about sessions, Rucha.
No,
That's
so what's-
where the fun is.
So 1.86% down IT today. In the last couple of days, we have seen downgrades coming in for IT, right? Rucha, what has changed for a person, bullish person? Let's talk
Like
from
you.
your perspective. ठीक है, हम तो बोल रहे हैं ठीक है ये headwinds हैं, but तुम बताओ कि
How would you
suddenly
look at it as a sell-side analyst?
हाँ
Which I'm not as of now.
हाँ
Yeah, but what? So earnings downgrades, what should we expect?
So yeah, definitely for sure, earnings cut are on their way. In fact, when the previews come
More
out,
cuts?
Yeah. When the previews come out, I think there'll be a lot of earnings cut, a lot of target prices cut that might happen in the coming quarter. Why? Because there was a lot of expectations built in by the analysts, because the management were very, very positive in the last earnings call, and which is why I was also very much positive.
I
believed
beg,
on what the
I
management
beg to
told
differ
us.
on that. I don't think that any management has come out and said that they are positive.
Oh, for sure.
They have
were.
spoken about cautiously optimistic. They have not said positive.
Harsh, cautiously optimistic, and the way their tone changed from
नहीं, देखो,
previous
देखो,
quarters
cautiously
to last
optimistic वाला
quarter.
जो वो होता है ना वो actually analyst का term है.
I went to the TCS media day and they did not sound bullish.
Harsh,
You were
they
also
were
there.
very
They
much
did not
better.
sound
Okay,
bullish.
okay,
I
I would
spoke
like
to
to-
Kriti myself. He was not bullish at all. He said, 2 quarter wait करके देखना पड़ेगा क्या होना है.
I would frame it in a way
So
that
I'm not understanding what analysts are now sitting to downgrade. That's what. Sorry, but I'm
they
coming
were,
from a
they
place
were
that I don't
better
know.
placed than what they were a few quarters back. Let me tell you that. If you're saying they were not, चलो positive नहीं है, सब अच्छा नहीं है, but जो 3-4 क्वार्टर के पहले था उससे comparatively तो काफी better थे in what they were speaking. They were actually saying that they are seeing green shoots in discretionary demand. Yeah, these go and check the transcripts. This is what they were saying, and that is why IT rallied last year a lot. But since January, YTD, IT is down because of Trump policies, because of delayed rate cuts, which will affect the client spending, and that is why clients are again back to square one where they were previously. They were not sure about the spendings, etc. And this was also coming back to IT companies wherein they were hit in terms of discretionary spending, etc. So again, a lot of optimism was built around November-December quarter is what I would say. And that will now get reversed, is what I'm trying to say. Even Citi came out with a note today wherein they cut most of the target prices.
Yes.
Because November, December में इतना बढ़ा दिया था, because वो लोग इतने positive थे, फिर January से लगा कि नहीं भाई क्या हो रहा है ये वापस IT
So 28 से 23 कर दिया price to earnings. 28 times March 26 की earnings को अब उन्होंने 23 times September 26 की earnings कर दिया. So what they are trying to say is कि भाई तो जो recovery है it's going to be prolonged one rather than a short this entire hit.
I am not sure what new they are seeing. I'm sorry.
No,
Maybe I'm not reading things right.
They are not saying anything. They're still, I think, Citi.
You are
Citi had-
saying there's been a dramatic shift. Where has the shift been? Trump got elected in November. We knew what policies he's going to come out with. The only uncertainty there was whether he'll go through with the policies or
answer
not.
this. Why did IT rally last calendar year?
The only reason
What optimism was there
the only
built
reason
around?
was
I
that
was not
spend was
seeing-
coming back.
Exactly was
That-
my point.
yeah.
Look,
They
IT
were talking
always-
about
for a
green
month.
shoots. They never said that green shoots
Will
have started
stay.
to translate to order wins.
But
That
they
they
were
are-
better
they were-
placed than what they were a few quarters back. That is what led to the rally last calendar year.
So which-
and now everything is reversing.
Which is my point here. That rally was unwarranted, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. So they were
Back
illusion.
then also, we had this conversation on Bulls, Bear and Banter, and I had said that it's not translated yet fully. I want to wait for it to
So
translate
IT
fully.
rallied on the illusion that discretionary might come in. Which is now not happening, and that is why this kind of reversal.
That is
Everything
true.
is based
You know,
on
the thing is,
based
that
on
they-
future which
and
will
that's why
come.
I always say that take the research reports with a pinch of salt because they have multiple factors to
That's true.
multiple stakeholders to do it. कभी अगर एक क्लाइंट को बाय करने के लिए बोल दिया तो एक महीने को सेल करने के लिए नहीं बोल सकते ना 20% नीचे. Simple as that.
Sorry guys, before we go ahead with this conversation, please hit the like button. We will start taking questions at 25 likes because Neeraj sir is not here today. So we've been told that the targets are a little higher, and also because sell side analysts have cut target prices on IT. So so the targets here have been increased.
Yeah, that's right.
Rucha, there are three things which are playing out, right? One is discretionary spends are not going to come in as expected.
As early as expected.
Means it's not because interest rates are going for a pause, US interest rates. So there's no additional spending that may come in. Two, what is happening very clearly is that the regulatory regime is changing gradually in such a manner that US banks are now trying to hire themselves rather than going for a outsourcing or a contracting of work, which is happening. We don't know the extent of that impact on the IT as of now. Like, there was a note from Ambit, if I'm not wrong, they're talking about Citi, looking to hire, increase the workforce from 48,000 to 50,000 in IT. And that is because of the core banking thing. And if that is translating across US banks, then a lot of top tier IT companies are going to have some issues because there will be a consolidation of vendors which is going to happen, which is there. The third thing which is coming in is the AI factor which is there. Indian IT, it seems now we are talking about AI, but we are not at a place where we can compete with Chinese companies on AI. And the next wave of IT which will come in, right? Initially, if you look at the way IT began, BPOs से शुरू हुआ था, maintenance work से शुरू हुआ, then you went to software development, transformation and others, and then you went to cloud computing, machine learning and others. Now it is moving to an AI where it seems that China and Chinese companies have a better edge on that portion of technology compared to the Indian peers. Now they have a very big geographical headwind coming against them because many of the US banks will not allow Chinese companies in China to come into play, and that's where Indian companies. But Indian companies will also have to step up. We haven't seen that kind of commentary coming in that we have an IT product, AI product like which can compete against a DeepSeek or any kind of that stuff, which is not there. That is something which is the next frontier for the Indian IT. If that comes into play, we have IT coming back into play, because now what many of them are talking about is next 18 months are going to be a very quiet and coming for any bottoming out. Will it come back soon? We don't know. IT is now the most underweight amongst all foreign investors as we speak. Retail have picked it up, but foreign investors में underweight चल रहा है अभी.
This is the 5-year average price to earnings of IT versus what the current price to earnings is.
Right, means to 23%. Remember, I spoke about it. Say
37
का high.
Now starting to see normalized valuations in IT, which is
even
in
that
line
is high.
with the 5-year average.
Exactly.
Even that is high.
Because if
still downside is possible, right?
Because if Citi is saying that next year September is 23 times, and today it is 23 times, that means today it has to be, this little, तो और नीचे जाना है.
Correct. But yeah, I mean the point being that I don't know how much downside from here, but yeah, I mean clear pressure. But I believe rates is the one big thing, and I think that came out of commentary in the last 2 quarters as well, when there was that frenzy with regard to the stocks, and whenever we were speaking with management as well, largely what they were saying was we are going with the anticipation that there will be rate cuts. Yes, Donald Trump will bring in tariffs, but he will also bring in rate cuts. Unfortunately, he's not been able to bring in rate cuts, and therefore there's no pickup with regard to discretionary demand. We've said that they used to say that there were green shoots, but rate cuts required to see a pickup in discretionary demand. Now, rate cuts, are IT companies the best place to judge whether a rate cut in the US is required or not? I don't believe anyone here sitting out of India is the right person to judge whether there will be rate cuts or not. But likely that will be the ignition for the pickup.
For sure,
in discretionary
direct
demand.
impact on what is happening to the US interest rates.
Correct. Okay.
So there are a couple of questions, right?
Yeah, do we start taking questions?
Yes.
Or?
Root Mobile.
Root Mobile, frankly, I have not had a chance to see it, but it's a software company, so Rucha
Yeah,
is
but
best place to.
yeah, but I have not tracked it like very closely. But Root Mobile, I think the way it has already picked up. Let's look at how much returns has this one given over last 1 year. It has been down, but
From 1500 to 900, so 40% negative returns last 12 months.
It's correct.
I'll have to read it closely then, Harsh. Maybe we can take this tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe we take it on another day. But at 18 times, it's a fast growing company, and I believe that there were a couple of issues with regard to corporate governance that I had seen maybe a couple of years back. I don't know how much of that has improved.
It's more into
very
telecom
fast
and others.
Yeah, the
right?
SMS thing
SMS
which it
thing
sends, it is largely into that.
Yeah.
in that
So
segment.
revenue has gone up from 1400 to 4400 crore in the last 3 years, 4 years.
And they've
to
done
be
a
absolutely
decent
precise.
expansion.
But that includes the COVID effect also, no, Harsh?
Yeah, but
So
they've
COVID
been
में
able to
काफी
keep-
rally था because the kind of the messages which you were getting for those vaccine, this was one of the biggest players, and this is when Root Mobile had rallied so much.
But
After
FY
that, the
23
downfall.
में jump देखा है 2000 crore से 3600 crore is the FY 23 top line. That's where we've seen a jump. Margins have largely been stable, 11 to 13%. So if
The
just
point is,
to-
our growth कितना है? What are the more avenues, right? Is it stagnant
let
at
me-
this
let
point?
me read up.
It's
Let me read up.
among the top means few companies which is into that segment. So it has that unique.
Tanla also, I think, is
Yeah,
one
उतना
of
नहीं,
those.
टानला का उतना नहीं है, but इसका बहुत इसका है काफी इसका काफी है.
जो WhatsApp messages से
Yes.
लिंक होता है, वो सब करता है ये generally. Let's take up the next question.
They've maintained their growth trajectory with a guidance of 15% CAGR over the next 3 years. So just to extrapolate this purely, I mean, I'm not even going to look at anything else. Say they do this for 5 years and the top line doubles from 4,000 crore to 8,000 crore, maintaining margins at 12%. That's around 1,000 crore worth of EBITDA and trading at around 6,000 crore of market cap. That's how broadly one can look at it. If that's the kind of growth you want in this kind of an industry, it's into software, and a lot of it is also disruptive because auto messaging and stuff like that. If that's something that interests you, then yes, that's broadly the guidance and broadly the way in which they are expecting to grow. So yes, so that's on Root Mobile.
And there was a slight disruption of feed, I think, because of some tech issues, but we are back.
Okay, so yes,
Yes.
that's the one. See, some of the other buzzers, and one thing I really wanted to highlight, that we've seen quite a bit of insider buying, which has started to pick up in the month of March. And I pulled out some data, but what I will do is I'll try and refresh the entire data altogether. Okay, data, insider trades, okay.
But Harsh, till then, if I may ask about
Yeah.
banks,
Yeah.
you are an expert.
I
2
am an
days,
expert,
these
okay.
2 days, the rally, can you just give a layman an idea about why, even if Nifty is flattish, why is banking index rallying so much?
Well, it's not.
Especially the mid.
It's been a damp underperformer, banks. So yes, maybe not as big of an underperformer as IT, but you look at the way the Nifty has gone up to 26,000, banks haven't participated in that rally. Where has the banking index breached significant highs? We are still struggling to hit 50,000 on the Nifty bank. And therefore, I would see this as more of a play where there is, it's become a defensive play in markets at this point.
I agree with you on
You are
that.
trying to
Because
cap your
look at the
downside by
technical
investing in banks.
Look at the technical factors. One, everyone is now talking about the fact that financials are becoming the go-to sector as a defensive play,
Yeah.
which is there.
Yeah.
The second thing, and that's primarily because over a period of time, you will have interest rates going down, so there will going to be good earnings visibility coming in from sale of treasury and other
But the
stuff.
question is when?
It will come. So the movement is happening from. So when we say that okay, flows are moved out from IT and other sectors, they are moving into financials. In the Indian market, if you look at last 10 days, your ICICI, HDFC, Kotak, Axis, these 4 companies are seeing good amount of delivery-based buying, which is there. These companies have also gone up. This is despite the fact that the index affair is in play. So basically, investors are now saying that stick to the top 4.
Yeah.
So that consolidation of money or flows or investors is now going to this top 4 because they think these 4 are secure and they have much better transparency and governance standard, and so there's nothing to worry from that point of view. See, there's one thing which is there. There's a global headwind. There is going to have an impact. There is, when the issue comes of balance sheet headwind and balance sheet issues and your structural lending issues, then the investor gets jittery. If you don't have those kind of things, and if you have a stable business model with good transparency there, even if the global headwind is there, the investor is willing to hold on to the stocks. That's the root thing, and that's what is pushing.
So basically, investors have faith in banks, but not
financials.
in IT.
Yeah, because
Wait, I'm not asking you. No, let Sajeet answer this, please.
Investors have more faith in returns coming from banks than IT.
वो तो मैं IT में भी बोल सकती हूँ ना कि discretionary आएगा.
नहीं आएगा,
But that's
पर
the
आज की डेट में पैसा उधर ही
You're
जा रहा है
getting
और कहीं पे
stability.
stability आ रहा है ना.
So banks are more stable than
100%.
IT.
You look at the fall in the Nifty.
See,
You
at
look
one
at the
ti-
fall in the
at
Nifty
some-
bank.
At some point in time,
It's
in the past,
outperformed the
maybe at
Nifty.
10 years back, FMCG used to be the defensive sector.
Exactly, I was about to ask, and where is FMCG
it is
now?
Not. It is not today. It is financials which is the defensive sector now.
Hersh, you're bullying all of us.
No, I
Your
mean,
sector is...
Your sector is bullying all of us.
Yeah.
That's what we
so, but it's been a rank underperformer. When you zoom out, you look at the 1-year chart. It's been a rank underperformer.
So वो हिसाब से तो IT भी underperformer है. मतलब that's not an argument, right?
underperformance में सबसे ज़्यादा कौन कर
I'm
रहा
saying
है?
zooming out. You look at the last 3 months, the way IT has performed and way banks have performed. Banks have outperformed IT in a major fashion. They've outperformed the Nifty 50 also in a major fashion. But you look at the last 1 to 1.5 years, banks have been major underperformers. So this current bout of outperformance is justified, is what I'm saying.
So is this momentary?
Because I would not believe so, because when you're looking at the multiples which banks are commanding today versus their 5-year multiples, they are at almost 15-year lows. Forget average multiples.
So हो सकता है और भी downside हो.
So obviously everything can go to zero, but the point is, would an HDFC bank, would a Kotak bank go to zero? And with some of the RBI overhang going away, with rate cuts starting to play out, how many rate cuts is now becoming the big question. A second rate
It is
cut.
also about anticipation, na, Rucha. Means
Yeah.
the market discounts the anticipation. In the case of IT, they are not able to do it.
Yeah.
Because they
Visibility नहीं है.
Visibility नहीं है, because they were trying to do it in December when the stocks were peaking.
Yeah.
But वो visibility नहीं दिख रही है अभी.
इसलिए सब टूट रहा है.
सब टूट रहा है, मतलब सबर टूट रहा है जिसको कहते हैं. वो विजिबिलिटी अभी इनको लगता है कि बैंक्स में आएगा, क्योंकि दे एक्सपेक्ट आरबीआई टू कम आउट विद अनदर रेट कट इन अप्रैल व्हेन इट मीट्स. सो वो that visibility is coming in there.
Right.
But everyone agrees that कि 0.5% 25 बिप्स का जो हुआ है उससे अभी ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ा है. You need more.
Yeah.
And that is primarily because they expect that capex revival can come in into FY26. That means more credit growth can come in and everything. So, and if interest rates come down, the pace will be much more faster. That's the one thing. But there are a lot of questions.
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've missed
Did
lots
we get the
of
likes
questions.
and therefore are we
done.
allowed?
I'm
think-
guessing.
I
Doesn't
think
matter
now
anymore.
Nifty and I think now Nifty will have an uptrend for coming weeks, and earnings season will decide the direction of markets further.
For sure. Earnings
Yes.
season for sure.
Earnings season.
Optic, I don't know.
March तक क्या लगता है सर? Global markets are
दो हफ्ते तो
down.
बचे हैं.
Global markets are down and Indian markets are doing phenomenally well.
Yeah? Are they doing
in last
phenomenally well?
in last 2-3 sessions, yeah.
I don't
See,
think so.
Indian markets अगर देखा जाए तो थोड़ा सा they have recovered a bit. When we are talking about 23,000 come hitting, means 29 पे अभी है. At a week back we were saying that we may not even cross 22,500.
Correct.
That's what. And now we are almost close to 23,000, which is there. So there is a momentum which is getting built up. Yesterday it was a consistent run up which was there. कुछ शॉर्ट्स काफ़ी शॉर्ट्स कवर हुए हैं क्योंकि कॉल्स काफ़ी अनवाइंड हुए हैं कल उसमें. So across 26, 27, 28 मतलब 22,000, 26, 22,000, 2,700 and 22,800 में काफ़ी अनवाइंडिंग हुई है. तो there is a build up which is there. Now it's a question is whether we are going to cross 23,000 or not. That's one thing. But as you clearly said, earning season है. Advanced tax numbers for Q4 has not been so encouraging. So the bigger question would be the commentary which comes in from the companies with respect to what they see in FY26. There's a hope that government push, consumption-led tax cuts which have led to will lead to consumption. All this will have an impact in FY26, and so there could be a recovery in earnings. But all depends upon. अभी तक के जो आ रहे हैं वो ये है कि consumption is still very low, which is there. Mirza Akram Beg. There is one question on Eicher Motors. Monthly sales numbers have been good due to rise in exports. Yes, two-wheeler numbers have been largely good, mainly because of exports. Domestic numbers for two-wheelers have not been so good. There is still issue with respect to sales in two-wheeler segment.
But price cuts on their way, right?
Eicher
Eicher is okay with taking some amount of impact on margins and focusing more on volumes.
So maybe the reason being that there is not a volume push which is coming in, and वही ना कि हाई एंड मोटरसाइकिल्स का जो कंजम्पशन है मोस्टली अर्बन सिटीज लेड होता है और वहाँ पर अगर कंजम्पशन कम है तो योर वॉल्यूम्स गेट हिट. सो देयर कुड बी प्राइस कट्स और प्राइस rationalization that can happen to push volumes across. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But Eicher has been a multi-bagger for many years.
Proven winner.
And this it's just a cycle which is playing out. So we'll have to play out and watch.
I have two of my teenage friends who have recently bought Royal Enfield motorcycles. So it just kind of goes to show that among the 18 to 20 age bracket also there is plenty of demand. So maybe something that you want to watch out for. And second is with this discretionary consumption push through tax tweaks which are made in the budget, you might want to see that as well, and Eicher could be a great play on that. Of course, you have to keep your eye on the ball and see how numbers are playing out. But yeah, their focus less on margins, more on volume is a new strategy which you will want to watch out. How does it play out? Because it's a completely new strategy to Eicher Motors. That's not something we've seen them do in the past.
Another question coming from Devanshu Kumar. Gold to silver ratio
is a very interesting one.
Yeah, gold to silver ratio is 1:90, meaning 90 ounce of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Robert Kiyosaki is bullish on silver. What's your view on silver for 1 year time frame?
Silver versus gold?
Silver versus gold. You know,
किसमें पैसे डालोगे?
Gold has been running up.
Eicher.
नहीं, gold has been running up for some time. But you know what I've been hearing? Silver has, if you are going to bet on battery storage and renewable and other stuff, silver will have a bigger role to play in that.
Yeah.
And so there's a demand that may come up for silver. Yeah. And some people are betting that silver will the ratio which you said will come down. आज की डेट पे 90 ounce of silver to 1 ounce of gold है, वो कम भी हो सकता है आगे जाके.
वो जनरली होता है सर. Generally when gold rallies, this is historic data. I have no study of silver to even save my life, so please take.
I'm
this
just going
caution.
by anecdotal.
But whenever gold goes up dramatically, silver generally follows suit, and then you see a bit of a cool off in gold. You see a bit of a rally in silver.
But my
That's
question
past precedents.
My question is, gold already
No
in
way
a
of-
rally हो चुका है. So do you think the room for growth is more for silver than gold?
Which is what I just said, that there could be a
It's crossed $3,000 per ounce, but point is that can it go further up? I think it can go further up because there is still an uncertainty of reciprocal tariff coming in, and so in the next 2 to 3 weeks you will see gold further forming up and becoming a heaven commodity. Further, the other thing is, which even Neeraj was mentioning early this week, that if you look at the flows from gold, there's been outflows from gold ETFs, but gold consumption and demand has gone up, which basically means that sovereigns are stacking up gold. Means governments are reserve central banks are buying gold and keeping it because they believe that that's a reserve, means they need to keep, because there is going to be a huge volatility as far as USD or any other
And currencies are
concerned.
So ये rally in gold will sustain or will it be a muted year for
No,
gold?
it's gold is already gone up so much from
So
the
that's what
beginning.
I'm asking. Will
It
it
will
be
tough
to say.
muted?
Tough to
चलो
say.
नेगेटिव तो अगर हम नहीं सोचे
At least
You
April
can't
तक
give
तो
a view here,
है. April तक तो
Rucha.
है.
I'm asking your opinion, yeah. That's what you asked me about IT.
April तक तो है. April तक है.
पीछे
नहीं
बढ़
यार.
गए।
ये आईटी के पीछे पड़ गई है. हाँ. ये बैंक के पीछे पड़ गई है. हाँ.
Acha, Mahendra Kumar Jain, how to analyze low promoter companies like FirstCry, MediAssist and PB Fintech? Rucha.
No, please go ahead. You're the expert.
I'm not an expert. But so some of these companies have been cash burning businesses for a while, right? And therefore, understandably, their promoter holding is low because they would have diluted far beyond. Second thing, they would have come into IPO and further diluted, which would have created more dilution. Not necessarily that when a promoter ownership is low, a company is bad. That's not the right
Look
way
at
to look at it.
Infosys, right? Promoter ownership
Yeah.
कितना है?
Well, in fact, Hersh, I would say a high promoter holding, which means more control and less free float market.
Possible.
That is
that's,
true.
That's
that is
one
true.
way to look at
That's
it.
a technical factor which you're talking about. We are talking from a point of view कि अगर promoter का skin कम है
In the
game, then is it bad for the company?
Not
I don't think it is.
necessarily.
It depends upon the commitment of the
Correct.
promoters.
Correct.
And secondly, when you look at platform companies, look at the path to cash flows. That is the only thing you should be looking at. Nothing about contribution margin or others. कि operating cash flows positive हो रहे हैं कि नहीं,
Yeah.
or whether it's growing or not. If it's growing and it has a good trend, then you are in a better situation, because what it gives you an indication is that with scale, your cash flows are also improving there. So that is the only thing you need to look at platform companies. I think PB is already a positive cash positive company in terms
Yeah,
of
it's
cash
just
flows.
about gotten cash positive.
Positive,
2-3
right?
quarters
Yeah.
ago, but
And
yeah.
it has done phenomenally well since a long time, since it got listed after the kind of expansion they've had. I mean, PB Fintech as a business has grown really well.
Yes, PB Fintech as a business has grown really well. I will agree with that. Yes, a stock price.
So there are
Maybe a very few instances where me and Harsh are in the same boat.
Yeah, I should take a Kodak moment or something, right? It's simple. Shrikar Reddy, I think Shrikar, we have spoken about IT at length, and Arjun also we have spoken about at length. Shrikar is asking, Hersh, if not IT, where do you see opportunity apart from banking, consumption and
Apart
FMCG?
from banking, thank God you mentioned that, please.
So, life insurance has been a space where there's been plenty of overhang, something you want to look at. Maybe that overhang continues, so be cautious on that. But infra is something that I really find interesting, and I've been finding interesting since the last couple of months, and this is because I believe that the pipeline with regard to capex is large, given that we've had a soft year with regard to capex, and therefore I believe that a lot of the orders will come in back-ended. You're already seeing some of that translate. 10,000 crore worth of orders that GR Infra has won only this week. Okay, now this is a company which...
So let's put it in perspective. First 6 to 8 months, there wasn't any orders which were coming from the central government or state governments because of the various elections. Now that has the tendering has started and order flows have started, and that's what we are seeing many of the companies talking about order book, which is coming there. Many of the capital goods and infra companies have a decent growth rate. What we were seeing was a slowdown in the order book expansion. It seems that it's coming back now with some of the orders flows which have been disclosed to the stock exchange. If that is the case, then it's a positive sign for infra and capex cycle. But we spoke about yesterday also how railway stocks were not doing well, though they're growing, their order book is not growing. So we hope that the central orders are going to go out and they start doing it. So if you want to look at how capex is taking place, look at some of the big companies like BEL or L&T's earnings call. They give you a good commentary on where the capex cycle and what is the kind of order book or tendering which is happening in the entire universe, and how much can be placed. So they may not be getting everything, but they give you an idea about कि क्या हो रहा है इस market में. Okay.
I hope that answers your question, Rucha.
yeah, it does.
Outside of banks.
Is it a good time to build positions of Infi, HCL, TCS?
Is it
We
a
had
good
a
time?
discussion on
Yeah,
IT.
we had-
But is it a good time to build or no?
I think just wait and watch as of now.
So it's a good time to build.
Very funny.
Brunal, hello NDTV team. If IT companies focusing consulting services is downgrading, will ER&D companies like KPI Tech, LTTS also suffer because of auto slowdown globally and tariff uncertainty?
Oh,
ये
for
both
sure.
are mutually
For
exclusive. मतलब हो सकता है कि सॉफ्टवेयर भी नीचे और ये भी नीचे हो.
yeah.
Not necessarily.
But the reason which you're giving here, because auto slowdown globally
Yeah,
and
that
tariff
is
under,
more in
that
relation.
for
Yeah.
sure it will impact.
See,
वो उनका धंधा ही ऑटो मोस्टली ऑटोमोटिव बिजनेस से होता है जो ER&D है वो. तो अगर ग्लोबल OEM players are cutting their auto targets, they are not manufacturing more. How will they go to ER&D companies and take their services?
So I was reading a report today. It very clearly said that US auto companies are focusing back on ICE, which is ICE vehicles basically, not green ICE vehicles. Whereas there is BMWs, Volkswagens, and the other European companies are showing slowdown, which is showing slowdown. So any company, Indian company, which has some decent exposure to ICE portfolio in the US may benefit, but those who have exposure there in Europe may not. China market growth for auto companies is subdued. They're saying that Europe, US का जो gain है it can be offset by China. So many of them who are supplying to US are also due to China. तो वो जो
Sir,
growth
overall market भी देखो ना, a consumer, if say the interest rates are not going down, if money is expensive for
Yeah.
them, why will they go out and buy a automotive car, which is a kind of a luxury
car,
expenditure,
yeah.
and which is why the global OEMs are cutting their auto manufacturing targets, and therefore they are not going back to the ER&D companies to take their services and build the software in the cars which are actually not getting sold.
So tell me one thing, when we talk about ER&D and when a global OEM goes to a ER&D company, the company takes at least 2 to 3 years to build a new software or new product, right? In
For
that
the
sense.
first time,
For the first time, yes. So any new thing which will come in, if this slowdown persists, then ER&D pain is
Yeah,
going
that
to
will be elongated even more.
Because the next product जो आएगा वो 2 साल 3 साल के बाद आएगा,
Exactly,
उसके लिए
yeah.
वो टाइम लगेगा.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to add here is that ER&D functions in a very different way to IT. IT you can hire and fire as the cycles play out, but in ER&D you typically see less of that because the engineers involved with ER&D companies are more niche. You will not find those same engineers sitting in a simple engineering college and getting pulled out and like the IT company is sourced from, and therefore when you see a slowdown, margins also take a knock, and so does profitability. You might not see a material decline in revenue, or you might see a slowdown from 25% to 15%, but the knock on EBITDA is far more. This is my understanding basis Vikas Khemani's conversation with Neeraj sir. It was a very interesting conversation,
And
which I think it was that.
Yeah.
Maybe producers can drop that conversation as well, but I think it was that conversation which I was listening to, which I gathered this from. So maybe
yeah, you're right. In
maybe
fact,
something
I would like to corroborate that with kind of margin levers. If you look at the IT software companies, those guys mentioned कि subcontracting कम कर देंगे, थोड़ा सा margin में cost optimization कर देंगे, which is actually not possible to that extent for ER&D companies because वहाँ पे subcontractors नहीं होते हैं जो निकाल सकते. So subcontracting could not be a lever for ER&D companies for the margins. That is why their margin optimization is not that easy as of for IT software companies.
So if someone was to ask you, Rucha, that within the IT sector, how would you classify these companies and which are the companies which are better placed than, we know everyone is in a bad state, but within the bad state, which are the segments, or which are the segments, companies which are in those segments better placed than others?
See sir, IT in a very simple language is divided largely into 3 buckets. एक हो गया software companies, which includes TCS, Infosys, Wipro, etc. Others are products जिसमें more than 50% और large part of a portfolio of the services portfolio is products, जैसे persistent systems हो गया, HCL Tech का बहुत ही छोटा part है, but वो जो 9-10% का उनका product and platform business है वो भी यहाँ पे आ गया. So that is the second bucket of products, and the third bucket is the ER&D products which include the companies like KPIT etc. So software services के बारे में हमने बात कर ली, discretionary spends are into pressure and that is why deals are not happening and converting into revenue etc. Products के बारे में अगर बात करें तो those guys persistent etc. they have already rallied so much and there is more room because उसमें कोई discretionary spend का उतना element नहीं है जो services part को affect करे. Products है जैसे Redington वगैरह हो गया, ये सारे products businesses हैं जो reselling पे चलते हैं, उसमें उतना discretionary effect नहीं करेंगे. And the third part is ER&D which is more connected to the global OEM automotive players and therefore are affected by them. So these are largely the three buckets which one should look at on the IT software and product services overall.
Okay, so I believe we are completely timed out today.
Yes, we are.
So we're gonna close the show right here. Please hit subscribe if you've liked the show today as well as you generally like the show. We've also got a quick appreciation post. I want to call out
Arjun Sarkar.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arjun.
Thank you. You watch it from Dubai daily. Appreciate all the love and support. Do hit like, do share our views if you like them. And
I'm sure you must have missed Neeraj sir in today's conversation, but
yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys, and keep having
I
me.
was the I was the guy who was the.
No, you were not.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Sajeet
The
sir
pylon.
pitched. No,
No,
Sajeet
I was
sir
the
pitched.
pylon. Neeraj should have been here. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, no, you agree, right?
I agree for
Okay.
sure.
Now we're
for
completely
sure.
out of time.
Let
Sorry,
me-
we're gonna close this conversation before she goes on a rant. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. चलिए सर, सॉरी बहुत लेट हो गया यार.
Thank you.
चल रहे हो?
हाँ.